some muffins here. I missed her. I was gone in Australia for a whole month, wasn't I? I know. We're together now every day. Yes. I just love it when she gets on my lap. It's just so comfy when she just, yeah. We just drove from, first we drove from Charleston up to North Carolina when I broke up with my boyfriend. And then we just drove to Tennessee for a week. We're going to go back to South Carolina. We do a lot of driving. And she doesn't like her carrier. She likes to sit in my lap. She likes to look out. So I'm just thinking of this trip that I was on for a month. There was at one point where a 35-hour flight from Estonia, I went to Mind Valley to Australia, turned into a 2.5-day adventure. I think I slept 3.5, 4 hours in one of those pods or something like that in Tokyo on my way. And I got to say, if it wasn't for my magic mind, with the jet lag, even just being at Mind Valley, and then, oh my God, getting through that 2.5 days of adventure, and then they lost my luggage. And then I went right into leading 3 PSIs. There's no way I wouldn't have gotten sick or something if I wasn't taking my magic mind to help me with my immunity, help me with my energy. And then when I got back, as I said, I moved out from my exes within 3 days. I don't think I told you then there was a hurricane, and I've been doing all this driving and working. This stuff is, my body's just like, in the morning when I wake up, it's like, that's what I do. I do my magic mind with ginger, fresh ginger, cinnamon and hot water, and I am such a happy lady, and it gives me life and energy that's not too crazy buzzy, but enlivened. I don't crave coffee anymore. I love this. I do this little witch's brew with a little bit of coffee and some other of my mushrooms and things like that later in the day, which I love. But I'm so grateful for this. So I wanted to, as we're going into this next podcast, I wanted to be sure that you had a chance to give it a trial. Some people have responded well, I don't want to do a whole month. What if I don't like it, etc. So they have this thing called the it's in the show notes, have a look, but I think it's alanapratt.com/intimate trial. But basically, you get 3. You get 3 of these bottles. And I believe in 3 days, you're going to feel a difference. I certainly do. I feel it when I don't have it for a day. Some of those long days traveling on those 2.5 days from Estonia to Australia, I would have 3 or 4 a day just to keep going. But I really believe in this. I'm so grateful for this. I feel better because of this. I don't get sick because of this. I'm present because of this. And I'm grateful. My God, I'm so grateful. So as we move into this next podcast, and we're talking about sacred sexual mojo, making love with life. If you're tired and sick and jittery or exhausted, you don't feel very sexy. And when you feel grounded and flowing and healthy and present, you do feel like making love with life. You see the very same situation from a different point of view because you have the resources to. And for me, Magic Mind helps me have the resources. Their little slogan on here is do more, stress less. I definitely can do more. I would also say it helps me just to be, not stress so much about what I can't control, and to enjoy the process. So enjoy this Making Love with Life podcast. Intimate Trial, I believe, is the code. Look in the show notes and enjoy this podcast. I love you. Welcome to Intimate Conversations. Become the one. Intimacy is an inside job. Welcome to Intimate Conversations. Here we are in season 12, Become the One. And this month we're talking about making love with life. Maybe one of my favorite processes. I love theater of redemption, shadow. I love little you, the tenderness of eternity snuggling deep inside. And yet as a day-to-day practice and awareness, making love to life, it gives me mojo. And so we want to talk about how to stop diminishing our sacred sexual mojo because it's life force energy. One of my clients and coaches, Myola, She's going to be coming from all the way from Australia to our next intimacy retreat in Mexico in March of 2025. And we're going to do 2 initial goddess days of pleasure and orgasmicness before the official 5-day retreat. And so I've been doing work with her and I love her and I'm so grateful for her. And it's the perfect timing to work with her because before I went through my, a good year and a half after the criminal assault, all of the psychedelic somatic integration work, I had no idea that my orgasmicness was trauma-based. I didn't even know I was numb in my hips. I didn't know that I couldn't feel my vagina. I didn't know there were more orgasms. I mean, I that's not true. I knew, but I'd never had more orgasms than just clitoral. I remember once getting kicked off the show, The Doctors, when I asked, they were talking about orgasms and I talked about cervical orgasms and they frankly told me, those aren't real, cut to commercial. So I've still yet to have a cervical orgasm, but I have had vaginal orgasms, full body orgasms. And what I'm learning is that our orgasmicness, our pleasure, our body's capacity to experience this sacred sexual mojo evolves as our soul evolves, as our soul evolves to different levels of integration and alignment. Our sexuality changes. And for me, because I was so numbed out, traumatized in level 4 trauma, that my orgasm was just very surface. It was just very clitoral. It was very goal oriented. It was very masculine. And anytime I surrendered, slowed down into a more receptive place, either there was nothing there, I was numb, there was no connection, or there was terror to relax. And so let's not do that. I was very in my heart. I probably have had heart orgasms and not even known it. But so I've always been about the heart. Maybe like 10 years ago, I did Heart Splayed Wide Open, that 7-week program. Now we're moving into the Become the One 7-week program coming up in October. When are you going to get this? Yeah, September. So next month. So be aware when you see this. I haven't done this in like about 10 years, but Become the One. And in the new year, we're going to do Find the One or Awaken the One. So as I evolve, I give you the gifts where I evolve. So now my orgasmicness is so not goal oriented. It's beingness. It's beingness. And this aliveness isn't just for the bedroom. It is an everyday experience of more pleasure, more groundedness, more receptivity, more pleasure for the sake of being alive. And so this is what I'm calling this sacred sexual mojo. And so it'll be curious to see where you are on your evolutionary journey, where your body and your soul and this energy and the integration of your wounds get to come together so that you can have more joy being in your body and have life really feel like your masculine energy, whether your gender is a man or a woman, like the energy, the masculine energy is penetrating life with you, your genius, your gifts, your talents, your humor, your care. And you're you let yourself be penetrated. So your feminine energy, whether you're a man or a woman, be penetrated by life. Like, what you got for me, life? Like, bring it. Like, how good can it get? What else is possible? What is your divine dream for me? Have your way with me, like this level of surrender. So that's where I am on my sexual journey and why I'm excited to talk about that this month. And I've asked my social media staff to gather, as they always do, questions from you, which the first one is, Alana, how can unresolved conflicts in a relationship lead to a diminished sexual connection? Well, instantly. If there's anything unresolved if there's something in the space, it's going to be in the way of the flow of energy. And what steps can couples take to address this? Okay, so when there's an unresolved conflict, the feminine, and I'm pointing to me, but not just because I'm a woman, but the feminine energy in a relationship, I'm going to use she. She won't trust him. She won't respect him. She won't open. And so the radiance won't flow the juiciness won't flow, the love, the generosity won't flow. It's kind of like she like crosses her arms, vagina Kegel, skeptical. And that's got to be really shitty to be around as the masculine partner. Like you've already screwed up before you've even started. Like every day something's wrong because the rupture has not been repaired and it's still in the space. The unresolved conflict is still in the space. I remember a couple coming to me. They'd been together, I think 15 years when we started working together. And right at the beginning, he had a one night affair. And I'm going to say it hadn't been cleaned up in an effective way where the rupture felt repaired. It was still in the background. And a decade or so passed. And then she had an affair. And when I spoke with them, not that any of this is condoned behavior, but it just makes sense. We can have compassion that when something isn't resolved, it brews over time. It never, like it's an open wound. And it leads to, as we say here in this question, diminished sexual connection, because there isn't that safety, there isn't that devotion, there isn't that evolution that makes one respect and open and surrender again. And so that brewed over time. And it's not really much of a shocker, not to condone anyone's behavior, but just again, compassion, understanding, empathy, that she had an affair. But she had an affair with somebody she knew, and he deemed that worse than his affair. Right there, we're not going to get anywhere. When someone says, well, I hurt more than you hurt, or you did something worse than I did. Now we're just doing tit for tat, blame, blame, blame. And it's more of about to me anyways, an understanding of his needs and how he got his needs met was a one-nighter. Her needs were more emotional. So it makes sense to me that she would have an affair with somebody she knew because it was more of an emotional connection that she was seeking, which also turned into sexual. Anyways, there was a child. And the child was kept and raised by the original husband. And bless them, every time they would look at this child, the poor child, that every time they would look at the child, they were reminded of this unrepaired rupture. So the child's like, what's wrong with me? Nothing's wrong with you. But it felt like that because mom and dad would just sort of get triggered all the time. So we were able to shift through coaching, both of them in the coaching program. Instead of looking at the child as a trigger to the wound, once they did their own inner work and stopped blaming each other and took full ownership, each of them, 100% ownership, each of them, total ownership, each of them, integrated the wounds, each of them, then they could look at the child as the embodiment of forgiveness, the embodiment of transformation, the embodiment of evolution, the reason why they're closer than ever. Wow, that child's life is now free. And he's wind in the wings of his parents rather than an anchor. So that is an example of what happens with unresolved conflict and how we can move to the other side. There's another couple, an unresolved conflict. There was physical abuse that was revealed, and this sort of victim savior thing that would go on. And yet when that part in their coaching journey was revealed, it was unfortunately too much for them to take responsibility for, the shame, the embarrassment, the humiliation that this was going on. And in my coaching community, nobody gets preferential treatment. Nobody gets to not own their shit. Nobody gets blamed. It's a zero judgment zone. It's total unconditional love and massive ownership of what's going on. And we do the work. And the possibility for the community would have been that we all learned how to not judge. We all learned that we've all done shitty things. And nobody's holier than thou. And everybody is on the same playing field of being a human, owning their shit, growing the fuck up, cleaning up their messes, making up for the damage done, and even being grateful by the end that this occurred because it was a catalyst for evolution. And then the whole community could grow like this. And we could all bear witness
in gratitude for their bravery and their courage. And we would receive the gift back to where can we be brave and where can we be courageous in our own evolution as well. Didn't happen. They left and made me the perpetrator for calling a spade a spade. So sometimes as a coach, if there's any coaches out there watching, when we're a stand for our clients, not all of them are going to go the distance. And yet, in my opinion, we still need to show up on our A game and be the invitation for ascension and do our best to integrate our own wounds when we're blamed as the perpetrator, allow these moments to help us evolve as well. And that we as coaches need coaches. I have several coaches. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 coaches right now. I generally have 2 to 4 because I can't see my blind spots. I can see yours. I can't see mine. And I'm always wanting to evolve and present this next level of my evolution and what I've learned to my clients so that as a community, we're not stagnant. As a community, we still keep growing and growing. So yeah, when I was in a physically abusive relationship, I'm like, how the hell did that happen? When I can create such incredible results for others, I had to take total responsibility of why did I create this, attract this? And that's when my amazing psychedelic somatic integration journey began. And so many of my colleagues and clients say, thank you for being so brave, so vulnerable, so that I can show up with my skeleton, closet of skeletons. And I know you won't judge me, and I can reveal them all, and we can roll up our sleeves and do the work. Thank you. And now that I'm able to pay it forward and be able to guide psychedelic somatic journeys with my clients, the results are off the charts. What is resolved, integrated in a year when we add the VIP PSI journey, three journeys to the year of private coaching, group coaching, an annual retreat, and the psychedelic somatic integration journeys? It's breathtaking. It is absolutely breathtaking how much farther we can go. And whether I know it's partially the experience, but it's not like the medicine is a pill. It's not like it's a quick fix. No. It just excavates more deeply and thoroughly and helps the body feel and get out of the head to do the work that I'm here to do anyways. Because what happens in the private sessions that have no medicine is we go so much deeper, so much faster, because their body and my body, their soul and my soul, we've already been like to hell and back. And so we can get so much more done even on the private sessions. So it is I guess we could call it a catalyst for extraordinary integration and ascension and miracles. People like stop old trends of like attracting really abusive partners or crazy partners or addicted partners or all these kind of things, emotionally unavailable or cheating, all the list goes on. Like they don't attract those people anymore because the wound is integrated. And so many of my clients have attracted just the most healthy, beautiful relationships of their life. Now, whether these stay for years or the rest of their life, that's their divine journey, not mine. All I know is they're in healthy relationships and they're thriving. And the whole community is leveling up as a result. We've seen each other suffer. We've seen each other do the deep work. And when we see each other going, one client, she's like, he just sent me a list of 180 sexual things that we could do together. How do I feel? Is it a thumbs up, a maybe, a definitely no? And we're like, can we see this list? Like this is who she's attracted. And her very last relationship was intense and it wasn't going anywhere. And she had so much trouble letting go, but she finally did. And we watched her in that void be so sad. And then through this work, there she is out in the world again and has attracted somebody. They've been together about 6 months now. She's never been happier. She's so radiant. She's so happy. And and this is so important as well, she's so herself. She's so herself. When we begin to integrate so many of our wounds, that we're so at peace in our skin, that it's almost like we're making love to ourselves. We're just so in rapture and oneness and intimate communion with ourself and our body and divinity, that way of being. She's like, oh, I am not compromising on that anymore. And she's not. And she's so herself with this partner. And so is he. And it was a slower burn. It was a slower chemistry. as well, which is something different than before as well, rather than like game on right away, more of that maybe trauma bonding. Not that I like to use labels, but I think that was what the old relationship was, and it certainly was what my relationship was. But to see her with a more slow burn, and she wasn't even sure if she was attracted to him in the first place. And I suggested a practice that we do every single month. At the end of every month, we do a combined, I have like an inner circle group and I have an intimacy breakthrough journey group, 2 groups each. And we come together, the whole groups, and we do dyads. And I break them out into partners. And we practice this very profound form of communication that is so safe, so deep, so fast. And I suggested she do this with this gentleman. She's like, well, I don't know. I'm like, well, if you're going to be yourself, might as well be yourself. So she did. And that changed their dynamic from more friends platonic, like transactional this way, to the figure 8 energy. And it shifted. And then all of a sudden, the sacred sexual mojo that we're talking about today started to flow. And now apparently there's a permanent massage table in her bedroom. I'm a little envious. Okay, so that is, as we talk about unresolved conflicts. And lastly, I would say my last relationship didn't go forward because he was unwilling to repair ruptures. He didn't know how, he didn't want to learn how. Anything that went anywhere near he was anything other than perfect, defensiveness, justification, abort mission. And what was sad was, even as consciously uncoupling in the end, a rupture occurred in our conscious uncoupling, and he wouldn't even repair the rupture to be friends. Well, then there's nothing. There's nothing then. Because friends or lovers, parents, children, colleagues, everyone's going to be human. At some point, everybody is going to have a rupture. That's called life. There's no way out of that one. Death, taxes, and ruptures. And so it's going to happen. And so when we don't repair them, the relationship either ends, is completely fake, shallow, or it stays very victim savior. So that was unfortunate, because I invited the repair of that, but it takes 2. So unresolved conflict not only leads to diminished sexual connection here in the question, it can be the end of a relationship forever. Let's all take a deep breath for Alana right now. Alana needs to take a deep breath. All right. So commit to being with a partner who is committed to repairing ruptures, or you don't have a relationship. All right. Second question from my amazing social media staff. Alana, what are some ways to reignite? I like this question. Reignite sexual passion in long-term relationships where routine and familiarity may have dulled the spark. Okay. In my opinion, there are like these phases of relationships and sexuality. Like in the beginning, it's more like hormones and, like the honeymoon phase, and you can just sort of brush by each other and like swing. That's a phase. That's awesome. The second phase is generally when you're like, oh, they're human. Oh, they pissed me off. Oh, they are my mother. Oh, they are my father. Oh, they are the perfect match for me to have my unresolved traumas triggered. And then we start to do the work. So the second phase can be like a little bit on the crunchy side, where maybe the sexual passion isn't as like lovey-dovey and airy-fairy as before. It might be even a little bit more like makeup sex, like, oh my God, you just did the work. I respect you so much. I'm surrendered. I'm a hot mess. I'm whatever, like just vulnerable sex, real sex, authentic, connected, walls down, heart open, raw, real connection. Amazing. And then sometimes phase 3, there's a point of view that, oh, this must be wrong because it's not like it was before. And we kind of want to go back, but we can't go back. An arrow goes forward, not back. And so we're looking for that same honeymoon kind of thingy. I don't think that happens. I think it's like a combination of newness mixed with the wisdom and respect that, oh my God, you fell down 7 times, but you got up 8. God, I respect you. And so what I say to couples is to kind of go back to basics and slow down, but not go back to phase 1. And I give them these 21 days of intimacy rituals where you slow down and get out of routine, get out of familiarity, get out of habit, and you create these little containers. And sometimes the containers, they're like, wait a minute, what do you mean I can't have intercourse? I'm like, just for day one, you're only allowed to hold hands and really, really feel their hands. And so the container is, you're not going to do anything else, no kissing, no sex, nothing, just hold hands. And when you bring it down to only that, their hands become the most beautiful hands you've ever seen. And the touch, when it's all you get to do, slowly is rapturous. So it's like day one. Let's say day two is just kissing, but no tongue, just lips, anywhere, but no tongue. And so these parameters and these barriers to, you can't go farther, allow part of the nervous system to calm down, because you're not going to go any farther, but it also makes your body perk up, because it's all you get to be and do. And you'll go beyond where you normally have the rote, that kiss them here, near, there, and then spurt and sleep. You get out of that routine, and you're just not sure quite where they're going to kiss next. Oh, but they can't use their tongue. Oh, I really wish they could use their tongue. Right. So you build over 21 days. And I have like a template, but I see what they would like as well. And you'd be amazed within 21 days how alive the sacred sexual mojo is moving. The presence has deepened. They've slowed down. And the polarity, the masculine, feminine, like two poles, two magnet poles, gets really hot. And sometimes I'll switch it around and have even the feminine, the female partner be masculine energy, and vice versa. And sometimes that's what changes things up, where one is given permission to be more in the leadership role or the presence role, or one is able to be more in their expression. So it's fun. It's really fun. At our annual retreats, I would say one couple was literally about to walk out the door. They were having divorce conversations. By the end of just a 5-day retreat, with this incredible community, the intimacy practices, and getting out of the routine. Half of our intimacy retreats are doing the work. The other half is we play, we have excursions, we relax, we dress up, we do all sorts of fun shit. That was enough to absolutely reignite their marriage. There was one particular exercise, I won't reveal what it was, but it was deep and intense as a community. And there wasn't a dry eye in the house. The female partner, the wife was able to speak up in a way, and he was able to hear in a way. He's a practitioner like me. He facilitates like me. So he's normally he's in charge. Well, he was a participant this time, so he was able to listen and hear more than he could when he leads his retreats, or he leads at the house. And it created a breakthrough. They ended up getting new rings and renewing their vows. It was breathtaking. Another couple who I'm still working with, also really on the brink, had not been intimate, connected, vulnerable, transparent, sensual in well over a decade, maybe two. And by day 3 of the intimacy retreat, breakthrough, she was back on in her body, integrated a hell of a lot. He was kind of stunned, still a little shell-shocked. But they've been together with me now 6 months. I always work with people for at least a year, so a year contract. But they're more in love now than they've ever been. We just did, for their 24th wedding anniversary, they did their second psychedelic somatic integration weekend with me. Oh, I could go on for an entire podcast of how delicious that couple is and what's happening. And it has to be within themselves, of course. Then they bring it together. It can't be, if you change, then everything will be fine. It's never, they are the catalyst, but it's never the other person's fault. Her mojo is waking up in the most sacred, integrated way. And he is feeling so desired and appreciated. And I'm just so happy for them. So these are some ways that I support clients with reigniting the spark. But we're, again, as I said before, we're not going backwards, but we are going back to basics of slowing down and feeling what's in the way. Because as you come together, even in those 21 days or the 5 days of the retreat, or I give people these 21-day assignments, you're going to bump into what caused it to dull the spark in the first place. You're going to bump into an unresolved conflict. You're going to bump into a trauma. Oh, look at that. Isn't that funny how Zoom does this? It does all sorts of fun things. You're going to bump into an unresolved trauma that needs to be integrated. You're going to bump up into something that shut down the flow of love within yourself and within that figure eight with your partner. And so that's the beauty of being in a coaching program with me and a community where we have weekly group calls and we have monthly private sessions and we have these immersions where we take a good 4 days. You arrive in the night, 2 full days, you leave in the morning, where it's all about checking in. We're all very good at checking out, and we need to survive this crazy place sometimes. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's not a means to an end. It is a checking out. And so being able to check in and integrate what comes up and not let it build like an elephant in the living room, like a herd of elephants in the living room, really allows for incredible breakthroughs, momentum, and soul's evolution. And then you do that in a community, and then everybody rises together. I love my life. I love my clients. All right, third question. Here we go. Alana, how can feelings of inadequacy or self-doubt during sex affect a relationship? And what can partners do to support each other in overcoming these challenges? Okay, that's right out of the gate, nothing. It is not your job, mommy. It is not your job, daddy. It is not your job to help your partner overcome their challenges because they're the problem and they're so broken. And if only they would change, everything would be fine. No, I've never seen that work ever. And so it is your partner's job to, I would call, believe in your partner, hold space and not judge when they're going through their stuff, invite. Let's go to a intimacy retreat. Let's sign up for some of my colleagues like John Wineland, Kendra Kunoff. They're my coaches. I'm in their program for a year. I'm having Johan and Rachel with their Tantra workshop. I'm having them on the podcast coming up. I can't remember what month. Anyways, so I have great resources to refer people to as well. You want to be able to invite with your partner, hey, how can we take good to great? What do you think about this? So we want to be able to invite them when our partner is going through difficult times, not to leave or ask them, would you like some space? But never to fix, never to look at your partner through the eyes of the glasses of what's wrong with them. They're broken. If only they'd change, everything would be fine. No, what is it like to look at your partner literally like you're putting on the glasses of the divine? I remember one couple in their, we do dyads a lot. And I said, look at each other through the eyes of judgment for the past 20, they were together 28 years, through the eyes of 28 years. Oh my God, it was like ice daggers. And I said, please look at your partner through the eyes of the divine. It was a concept they'd never even thought of before. And they were both very religious. So that was not hard for them. And they both started sobbing. They'd never considered to look at each other, their beloved. I mean, they had tons of children, super successful business, but they saw each other as a challenge to overcome or a problem they needed to find a solution to or someone to dominate. And it was always like a competition to be right. They'd never considered dyads. So basically you ask a question and the other person just gets to say, thank you. No rebuttals, no justifications, no leaving the room, no rolling the eyes, just thank you. And so the other person feels heard, understood, seen. Oh my God. So we were doing one of these, and then through the eyes of the divine, they started sobbing and everything softened. It's almost like their spine got stronger and the front of their body melted. And then I asked the question about the issue that was going on, the main issue that was going on, like the big domino. If you get the big domino, the other ones tend to fall with more ease and grace. We went for the big domino. And it turned out they were both on the same page. All this time they'd been fighting, but they couldn't hear each other. because of the way in which they were communicating and the guards they had up and the agenda they had. But as soon as we took that all away, and then we added the divine, looking at each other through the eyes of divine, everything shifted. Yeah. I love my job. All right. So that's the first part. It's not your job. Part two, inadequacies and self-doubt. Our experiences we have, generally thinking about our worth. And as we go into our body and feel, it could be sensations of nauseousness or heaviness or closure. It could be emotions of self-hatred or shame or guilt. So the inadequacy and self-doubt is happening up here. The way through is to work with a practitioner like myself, a facilitator, a coach, and come down into the body and start integrating the unresolved traumas and triggers that create the thoughts. And so down in the body, we could call it like an iceberg under the water, not just the little part on the top. The tiny little conscious part on the top is our thoughts and our beliefs and our stories and our cognitive analysis of what's going on. Well, if that was enough, my job wouldn't exist because it's not enough. As we go down into the body, we have a sense of ashamed and all the rest of it. We don't know why. We don't need to know why. We don't need the story. If it's of support, the story will arise. If the belief that needs to be shifted arises, it will arise. But in general, it's just about following an emotion and a body sensation and helping the autonomic nervous system feel what it hasn't been able to feel alone without being too intense and off you go to social media or another glass of wine. It's staying with a facility. I got you. Feeling through that which you haven't been able to feel on your own so that the system can get you to the next one, the next one, the next one, and all the way back to zero. So that's how you heal, evolve inadequacies and self-doubt. So that affect a sexual relationship. So let's say you were shunned for your sexual desires. You were caught as a kid masturbating. You were mocked by a lover. You were abused or molested or raped. All sorts of different things happen to us. And I'm going to say this life or other lives. Most of the journeys that I do with clients is stuff in this life for sure. But a lot of times another life comes up that makes no fucking sense at all. And it's the same thread, the same flavor of the wound that they're dealing with this life. I'm not here to tell you how it all works. I'm just saying I've watched body after body go to a past life where the wound was not integrated in that past life, like your head just got chopped off or you just got murdered or something happened, where you're just like, what? And you never got to be with it. You never got to process it. You never got to deal with it. And it's carried over in some way, in some flavor in this life. And when we integrate it, either in this life or the other life, doesn't really matter, it's gone. And everything, we go back to zero. And that issue you no longer attract with the energy resonance of your body, the frequency of your body. You don't need to keep attracting that wound, that situation, that dynamic in your life over and over and over again, because it's now integrated in the body and it's clean, clear, quiet, home, whole. And so then you bring that into the bedroom, and that place that used to make you go, is gone. And so now there's a new flow and freedom and expression, and you still need to get on the court. You still need to speak up. You still need to show up. You still need to be and do and give and receive and all the things. But that thing is not in the way. That thing that makes you go, oh, I'm not good enough. I'm too this or not enough that inadequacy and self-doubt, that part's gone. But you still need to practice. But I mean, what better way to practice? With your beloved, being you, naked, physically and emotionally and spiritually, and discovering a world beyond the mind, a world that only happens when 1 + 1, this figure 8, equals infinity, where literally the divine is making love to you, and the divine is making love to your partner, and then the divine is making love, and you're making love to each other, and you don't really know where you end and your partner begins, and the divine is everywhere. Yes, this is what's possible. In addition, so I said we can't fix our partners. Don't try, because you'll kill the polarity and you'll turn into mentors, mothers and fathers. No. However, you can add love, care, encouragement to your partner. So let's say you have a female partner who is not feeling very beautiful. In general, the feminine opens and radiates when we're told we're beautiful. And so let's say she's taking full ownership. She's in her own coaching program, doing her own work. The masculine partner can be kind by saying, you look great in those jeans. And even if she says these old things, or I wear these all the time, or I've had these for 5 years, even if she has kind of back to, don't give up. Still say, and you look damn fine. Come here, let me slap your ass. Whatever. I mean, I never, ever get sick of being told I'm beautiful. I have an ex who, there's just something every single time ever we would talk, he would call and he would say, hey, beautiful. And I'd be like, I'd just be mush. There was an energy. I knew he meant it. I received it. It just like started the whole conversation, not in like, how was your day, but like deep. Yummy. He's so hot. Anyways, so tell her she's beautiful. Tell her she's hot. Tell her she's radiant. Tell her she looks good. Just make a sound like as she walks by. And if she's really like cranky and she's not doing that, there's a playfulness. They call it like the sacred tussle. Where you just like throw her over your shoulder, like you're not going to deal with this. Like you remember once my girlfriend, this is way back in Tokyo when I was in my early 20s, Diana from Ireland. We were hostesses or we were English teachers and hostesses. I can't remember. But anyways, I was in a bad mood and we were at this bar called Motown in Roppongi in Tokyo. And I was sad. And this is even friend to friend. You can definitely do this with your lover. But what she did, she threw me sort of up against the bar and lifted up my shirt and gave me a strawberry on my belly and then pushed me up even more and put her tequila shot into my belly button and sipped it. I was in a good mood. Everything was fine. Everything was fine. We laughed and laughed. I don't know, Diana, if there's any chance in this whole wide world, for some odd reason you see this podcast, I would love to reconnect with you. Last time I saw her was in Melbourne, Australia. Anyways, great memory. But that sacred tussle, that funny, shake up the energy is really wonderful, at least for me and for most of the feminine, to get us out of our head, back in our body, back in our joy, crack through the wall and let the light through, and so that's what a masculine partner can do for a feminine partner. For a feminine partner, I cannot tell you, probably I can't think of one that it's not true. In 25 years of male clients across the board, they don't feel appreciated. That is like a common pain point. I do all this and she doesn't appreciate it. And here's in one of my latest couples that I'm working with, I saw it more deeply than I'd ever seen it before, certainly for this couple. So he's doing all this stuff. And in this particular case, they have a new baby and a 2-year-old, and they're entrepreneurs, and he wants more sex and she's exhausted. So this is like set the scene. So he'll do something and she'll be grateful, but it's not enough. He still feels that her sexual desire for him, her sensuality, is what fuels his purpose on the planet. Gratitude's not enough for him. And so I was encouraging her to not just say let's say he washed one of the baby bottles. And she is amazing. She will literally yell out in the house and say, "Oh, you're my hero. Thank you so much for washing the bottle. I'm so grateful for you." It's not enough for him. He needs her to say something like, and I was so funny on that last call with them, but I'm like, she needs to do something. "Honey, you just washed out the baby bottle. I'm juicy and dripping and I just want to like grind all over you right now, but I'm busy and I can't wait till our sex date on Thursday." He's like, yeah, that's what I want her to say. And then there's this moment where she's like, "But if I say something sexy, sensual, in my gratitude, I don't have the energy to have sex right now. And if he comes towards me and wants sex right now, I can't." And I was like, oh, this is the place where the rupture needs to be repaired. There needs to be an agreement that she is so willing and she's so tired in that moment of gratitude. To go from gratitude to rapture takes energy. Just that one extra thing. And she has to meet fear that if she says it, he's going to want to get some and she's not going to want to give some, and then it's going to get worse. So we made this agreement that if she can go that extra mile and say, oh, you're so fucking hot. I cannot wait till our sex date on Thursday, and it's only Monday because she's just trying to keep it together. She's not sleeping. That gift of her sensuality and her eroticism, he will agree that doesn't mean, even though he's turned on, he will use that sacred sexual energy to finish the website, to call another lead for a client. He will not instantly just get some. He will take that energy and use it for his drive, his masculine drive. So she's off the hook of fear that by giving this gift of her sensuality, she doesn't have to put out, but she's still agreeing that they have this incredible sex date coming up on Thursday. And he is on his edge in receiving all of that, to go, okay, and that energy is going to be for my purpose and to penetrate the world with who the fuck I am. Everything shifted. It was so beautiful. It was so beautiful because he was able, and she was able to hear for the first time. He goes, your gratitude is nice, but it doesn't fuel my purpose. It makes me feel like meh. But when you tell me you're juicy, when I take out the trash, I want to take out the trash again. I want to take you. I want to get to work. I want to make us some more money so we can take a vacation. I want to, and she's like, oh, okay. So that was one direction. The other direction that turned her on and made her open and feel more juicy is she wanted him to say, but not just say, she wanted him to be able to say, because she's as much of a moneymaker as he is, but right now she's taking care of the kids. So all of her masculine energy is like, and for her to trust, that's her edge, surrender, and to trust that he will take over and make more money while she's in mom mode for this period of time. And she needs him to say, I got this. Not we got this. It's always been we got this. Right now, for the next 4 or 5 months, whatever they've decided, I got this financially. So that let her relax this much. But the other half is, it was so funny. I was, again, such a dork. But she needs him to follow through and do what he said he's going to do. So it's one thing to say, I got this. It's another thing to say, and I called 3 leads today, and I have a follow-up call on Friday. Like, he followed through. Or I talked to our financial advisor today. I have a plan for our credit card debt, and we're going to be done within, a month. I'm going to sell these stocks. Everything's good. Like, action. She needs not just the words, she needs the action. And when she gets the action, so I gave him this assignment. I go, as many times as you want. You can do this daily if you want. But like, send a text of point 1, point 2, point 3, like start the day, end the day with this bookend of like, I got us. Okay. So she needs that for her nervous system. But I said, like, once a day, or maybe at the end of the day, send her like your 2 or 3 things that you did. And I said, I swear, if you give her a PowerPoint presentation, you're going to be getting a blowjob instantly as you read the PowerPoint presentation of everything you've done. Because that's what actually makes her surrender all the way. You followed through. You did what you said you were going to do. It makes this woman really, really turned on. He's like, blowjob every day if I give her a list. I go, it's not just the list. It's like you did what you said you were going to do on the list. Which again is for him to follow through and keep his own word to himself. That's going to feel great to himself. And it turns her on. So I'm a very creative coach. And I'm able to figure out not just the main nuances, but specifically for the couple, where to take it all the way into not just her being grateful, but sensually grateful. And for him, not just saying, I've got this, but by giving an actual proof and list. I did what I said I was going to do. Something shifts and their polarity shifts. And then they go, oh my God, right. When we first dated, we saw each other from time to time. We didn't live together. Okay. So polarity diminishes when you live together every single day, and diminishes when you have children. And when your woman is not just your lover, she's the mother and the breadwinner. She's all these other things too. So polarity. And they're like, oh yeah, in the beginning, she used to send me all these like hot photos of her all the time. She doesn't do that anymore. And then we discovered why. And we are changing it. So And that also makes me really, really happy. And so lastly, I would also suggest, you said, what can partners do to support each other when there's inadequacy or self-doubt around sexuality in the relationship? I just keep harping on these dyads because they're so safe to reveal truth. And sometimes the truth you don't even know lives inside of you will be revealed. When you get all the content out of your mind and you get down into your heart, you get down into your gut, you get down into your hips, you get down into your soul, you get down into your there is a truth in there that sometimes surprises you. And so when you take the time, one of my best relationships I've ever had in my entire life was only a year. I think it was a year. But once a week, we would do dyads. He would lead. He would say, it's time for our dyads. And we'd sit down for 45 minutes once a week. And we would talk about, we would eye gaze, be present, which calmed me down. And then we would go through, 3 questions. And I wrote down some questions in my notes here. The first 2 questions are often, tell me something you like about me. Creates that affinity, opens the heart, softens the front of the body. Second question, tell me something you think we align on. Takes you out of who's the winner, 3D, into shoulder to shoulder, looking at the horizon, 5D. You're on the same team. And then the third question tends to go a lot better. But you can say things if around your sexuality there's been unkindness or frustration or shame or guilt or embarrassment or humiliation or whatever. You could say things like, your third question could be, tell me anything you want to apologize for. Tell me how you'd like to feel in our sexual connection. Tell me a way you like to be touched. Tell me a way that makes you feel safe. Tell me a way that what I do when I turn you on, what I could do more of. Tell me how to open you. Show me how that would make you feel. These are ways of speaking with each other in these dyads where the other person doesn't go, yeah, well, I did that last week. No, you shut the fuck off. You just say thank you. And then you take what you've learned into your being, process it if that's required, and then you bring it into the bedroom. You bring it into your lovemaking. You bring it into your touch. You bring it into your compassion. When you put your hand on the small of the back in the kitchen, when you pass them in the morning, you've touched a vulnerable place together. Honor that, respect that, be with that. That tends to make safety when you begin lovemaking so much more. And you can even do these dyads before making love to get you out of the busyness of the day and into your bodies and connected, and put on music and incense and candles and remove your clothing and be present and ask a few of these questions. They can also lead to like really sexy questions, like tell me a way you enjoy that I go down on you. Like you can have any question you want to support truth, connection, vulnerability, eroticism. And then, as I said before, you can work with me. You can work with my coaches, John Wineland. You can explore. I've never been to any of their workshops, but I'd really like to go to Spain and take a Tantra workshop with Johan and Rachel, who is going to be on another podcast. There's a lot of people. So choose someone that resonates with you, and dive deep. I just finished a podcast with one of my clients, and I had no idea I was her first coach. I thought she worked with coaches all the time. She's very steeped in personal growth and podcasts and books and what have you. She makes a huge difference on the planet. I was so honored that she'd said, I could go with a lot of coaches kind of surface, or I could choose one and go deep. And that's what we're doing. And the results have been breathtaking for her divorce, with this new expanded family, dating, with her body, with her sexuality, sensuality, how she's raising her tweens, and just how much more, she's like liquid, velvety receptivity. She's in her body. And when she leaves, she knows how to get back with gentleness and kindness and this incredible femininity. So I hope you've enjoyed how we've talked about making love to life, allowing our sacred mojo not to be diminished, but to be revealed, and that we can come up against bumps. So if you're looking for somebody who you feel safe with, never judged, where you can go deep with a use of psychedelic somatic medicine, that's not a journey where you leave. It's a use of medicine where we stay tier 1 in the body, and we integrate those subconscious wounds that I can't see, you can't see, but the process will reveal. And a facilitator like myself can hold impeccable space and help you and your body get back to zero in an incredibly conscious, amazing community that I love so much, where we're going to Isla Mujeres in March of 2025. We're over half full already. So if that's of interest to you as well, please reach out. On my website, there's what's called an intimacy breakthrough experience. On the site, it is an investment of $497. However, in these show notes, have a look, because there's a scholarship for listeners and viewers of Intimate Conversations so that you can get a scholarship. I would love to see you in my inbox. I would love to read your application. I would love to send you what I do. I send like a video right out of the gate before I even meet you. So I give you my assessment, and we start the call already steeped in safety, connection. We know exactly what matters and exactly the results you want to get. And then we explore and see if, and if so, which of my programs are right for you. And then we welcome you. 2 welcome emails went out today. I just love it when my staff loves you as much as I do. Like, my staff is my family. And when I go, oh my God, and we all celebrate together. And then I see that initial email that goes out welcoming people. And then I see my other staff send your initial, like your initial Zoom call. So you have your own private Dropbox. When I see how they speak, they're just that, like they said, you've made the best decision ever. Welcome to our family. Like, makes me almost want to cry. Like, one of my staff, they just had a baby. Another one just had their first year anniversary. Another one, it's been a year anniversary of moving in with her boyfriend. Like, my staff grows. I'm committed to supporting them. We walk our talk as a company. I'm just so happy right now. And I'm really proud of who we are and what we give to this world. So if you would like to cry with me, if you want to laugh and swear with me, if you want to, dance, and live a life unabashed, free, and deeply grounded in who you are, I would love to connect with you. All my love.
See you next week on Intimate Conversations. Get out there and make love to life.
Okay, so I just finished my workout with my trainer, Ali Martinez, and I cried for 45 of the 50 minutes or so, maybe 40 minutes. She's been with me for years. Even the prior boyfriend, the criminal assault boyfriend, that's actually how I met her. He had introduced me to the company she was working with. She's seen me go through trauma. She's seen me come back into my body. She's supported me in getting body-mind connection to numb places. She's supported me to get stronger. And as we've worked together, she's started to trust that she is intuitive. She's gotten more certifications and is trusting herself. So we were doing this one thing with my right side of my body, masculine, and I was strong. I could do it. And then when we did it with the left side of the body, wobbly, lightheaded, and the beginning of tears. And she and I have an agreement that this is a body, mind, spirit experience. Yes, I want to be in shape. Yes, I want to be aligned and strong. But when there's emotion there, a lot of times I'll just override in my mind and push away what's going on inside. Even though I might do my meditations, even though I might still do quote unquote practices, there's something about when I really get into my body, body doesn't lie. I can't avoid it. I can't bypass it. And I'm having a very, very humble moment. One of the, and I guess we could call it annoyances of my last relationship, is that he would just he wouldn't slow down and feel and be present. He would just go, go, go. Which is fun when you want to go have fun, go do this, but it's not very fun when you want to have a real conversation about what really matters in the moment, when he won't sit still and feel. Well, what I'm realizing is for the past month since I moved out of his house, I've been the same. It's been almost a month. So I landed from Australia. I packed up all my shit. I was gone in 3 days with all the jet lag. Then there was a hurricane. And then I stayed with friends, and then I went to a cabin for 3 weeks, and I gave 4 PSIs to clients. And then I got in the car and I came to Knoxville, Tennessee. And now I'm working again, and now I'm working on my Become the One Mastery, right? And I see why I vibrationally matched that ex. I'm doing the exact same thing he does. I'm just running. I mean, when I pulled out with the movers, when I got my things moved out, I think I left at 4 or 4:30. One of my clients said they already saw him online dating sites by 7:30 that night. Like, he didn't skip a beat. He didn't slow down and feel his feelings. He's just out there getting the next girl. So was I. Not getting the next guy, but just working, running, serving, contributing, but not listening. So we sat down in my session, my workout session, and she's like, what do you need? I'm like, I need to cry. So my left feminine side was speaking to my right masculine side, and he's off like handling shit and getting shit done and everything. And she's like, I'm hurting. I'm sad. I need a hug. And my feminine is disappointed, and my masculine is taking it personally that he's the disappointment. No. My feminine is just disappointed. There's nothing wrong. It's not personal. He just needs her. She just needs him, my masculine right side, to just be with her. Like, literally have the two sides of my body reconnect. That's exactly the issue in my last relationship. I just wanted him to be with me, but he would get so fucking defensive. So the inside creates the outside. Yet again, walk your talk, Alana. Exactly. And so I attracted somebody who was mirroring to me what I do within myself. The difference is I have slowed down and felt my feelings today, cried my face off, done my integration. And now the actions in my life will be different because I'm embodying the lesson. It's not a cognitive analysis of the situation. I cried my face off. I felt. I sat in the fire. I integrated. I processed. I listened. Slowed down. I felt. Now I feel so much better. And I'm going to build in days to my calendar after I finish. I did build in one day after those 4 PSIs to rest, but I didn't really rest because I was packing up to leave the next day. So I need to build in another day. So a day of travel is a day of travel. A day of rest is a day of rest. And I need to be able to build these in, even though my enthusiasm, my masculine just loves to go off and conquer the next thing and serve humanity. My feminine needs to say, hey, come here. We need to rest all day. And this will be curious as I create this in my body, create this in my calendar, create this in my life. I'm in certainly no rush to date again. I'm doing the no man diet, that's for sure. But in time, can I be with someone can I attract someone who is a go-getter, driven like me, but also calm, connected, present, spacious, allowing, and can sit in the fire and feel his feelings and own them and support me in owning mine, and together we're better. Oh, yes, it is possible. It is possible for me, for you, for my clients, for us all. I love you.